We are live from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm Jonathan Parker, and this is probably a little awkward if you've listened to JCTV. I'm not usually play-by-play. I'll be doing that tonight. Sorry for not having a broadcast last week, but I'm here with Olivia Hayward. Olivia, if you'd like to introduce yourself a little bit.
Hello. I very much come from the more open wheel side of things, especially on the ovals, but I do love to see some good truck racing, especially at a nice intermediate like this, 1.5 miles, nice high banking. I think we see some good racing under the sun here today.
Yeah, this is usually a fan favorite, especially in the trucks here for the stock cars. Usually we run this track at night, which, as you could imagine, that would lower the track temps. That makes it more of a draft race with the trucks, but the track temps are so high for the race tonight, so racing might get a little bit more spread out. Tire wear will be, you got to look after those tires for sure. So, yeah, Justin Durand is at the top of the board right now. Alonso Chicano in second, Michael Walls in third. Those are guys you all expect to be up front at these intermediate tracks. And Justin Durand, I know he wants to get off to a quick start this season, as last season went off to a terrible start, never really could recover. This one that we usually used to see fight for a championship, didn't make the playoffs last season.
And of course, coming into round 2 of the season, everyone's got their opening round jitters out of the way over at Daytona, and now can get to the meat and potatoes really of the campaign. These intermediates are going to make up a majority of the schedule probably, and you've got to show that you've got what it takes to make sure the tire wear is nice and good, make sure you can make it to the end of the races ultimately, because it can be very easy, especially here, to get wrecked out sort of lap 50, lap 70, and that's not how you score points in a making way to the playoffs.
Yeah, and this is really where you make your money. Like I said, the majority of the season's on intermediate or bigger tracks. So the super speedway, you know, everyone wants to win at Daytona, and it's kind of a crapshoot. But whatever happened last week, just put it behind you. This is really where your season starts. Try to get off to a good start here. So practice comes to a close, and Justin Durand does post the fast lap. He will stay on top of the board going into qualifying.
Now wipe all those times from the board, because you've got, what, 2 laps, and you got to make it count.
Yeah, 2 laps, just 5 minutes. Just kind of like any other official race at an oval anyway. Be interesting to see who qualifies good, because this is obviously Olivia's first race here with us, here on JCTV, and they don't know as many people as I do. I know basically the whole field. I've been around these people for so long, many years now, so I'm used to all these guys, and Olivia maybe not so. So
people are going to impress me early, you know.
Yeah, you'll get used to these guys very quickly.
So we're just on board with, I believe this is Durand, who set our fastest time in practice, getting ready to start lap number 1. Like a little bit laggy here, so keep an eye on this. But really gotta try and match it. This should be flat out for qualifying here, right? So it's about being as smooth as possible, not scrubbing the tires.
With the high track temp, maybe a slight crack, but my guess is full throttle. And when you said Durand, I actually got confused for a second, because there is another Durand in the field. They are brothers. Durand Jr. So when you said that, I was like, wow. It's like one last name where that actually repeats, but all good as Justin Durand completes his first lap. Second lap, I would assume, would be faster.
Yeah, currently Rivers Jones on the pole with a 31.270. I think it all depends whether you can get to speed at the start-finish line to start lap 1. If you can, then the tyre heat might actually make lap 2 a bit slower, but there's the optimal build actually a lot over the IndyCar. Let's see if Justin Durand can improve here. 31.826 on lap 1, I'm sure, setting up onto the apron to the line, and 272. It's good, but it's not quite enough. Rivers Jones currently on provisional pole by 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah, Rivers Jones that's a very good lap that Rivers put up. He's in a new number this season in the 18. I think he wanted the 81, and that is, even though I'm only allowed to do 5 races, that's still kind of my number. Sorry, Rivers, but got 1 win last season at Auto Club, another high degradation track. So shown some speed at these types of tracks. Leaderboard has filled up quite quickly. If I do say so myself.
I think everyone's gotten their laps in quite quickly. If I can find someone to follow on board with, I think my my timing screen's gone a little bit haywire here, so might try and just fix that up real quick. We'll be back in a minute. But yeah, I mean that margin at the top of the field is really, really tight, and I think that says a lot about the strength of the field, yes, but also just how crucial it is to get things right in this sort of flat-out, high-speed qualifying session. It's the tiniest of margins that make it work.
Not a lot of room for error. You're right. It's kind of nerve-wracking, and there is a science to it, even though it is just flat out. It is all about turn-in points and getting up to speed. I think usually in the trucks, the second lap is quicker at these mile and a half, even in the higher temperatures. So just kind of got to get the reps in. On board, not on board, but watching Dawson Allen go around the track.
Frats in the donuts. Didn't have to work up to fairway through from 26th on the grid, but if it'll happen, then what a show Dawson will have for the checkered flag.
Getting that practice in. Currently watching Tristan Maher. I think he's just starting his second lap. Yes, he is.
Try and get all the way down to the white line. You don't want to let the tyres get onto the apron, but as close as you can is going to get the shortest distance and fastest lap time there.
Across the line, 31.46. Be kind of mid-pack for Tristan Maher there. He had a down year last year as well. One thing you should know about Tristan Maher, if you're going to be around here for a while, is he's a great road course racer. He's one of the road course guys. He's very good, but he's also outstanding on these ovals. He's one that you should always look out for. As qualifying comes to a close, Rivers Jones is going to be starting on the pole. And why don't we go around and go through our starting grid with Rivers Jones and Justin Duran. Starting on the front row, row 2 will be Michael Kruger and defending champion Stephen Maggio. Row 3 will be Justin Rott, Jeffrey Armistead. Row 4 will be Alex Kerfan and Michael Walls. And rounding out your top 10 will be William Kemp and Cody McCorkle.
It'll be Christopher Smeltzer and Sean Hussein starting alongside on row number 6 with Livia Poland and Tristan Maher. Behind them, Brett Bennett and Fidel Fabian, 15th and 16th rolling off here with Jonathan Jerdensmeyer and Duncan Four, 17th and 18th. Ryan Bodel and Gabe Tizola, have some new names to learn, rounding out your top 20.
Yeah, you did good for the most part, don't worry. Starting 21st is Cameron Caldwell, 22nd, Jacob Locklear, Josh Coppernoll, and 23rd, Andrew Davis, 24th, Roy Crump at 25th, Tyler Watermolen in 26th, 27th, Jonathan Canfield, 28th, is Dawson Allen. Rounding out your top 30 will be Nathan Fuller and Alonzo Chicano.
And then we get down into our non-qualifiers for this race. David Durand and Trevor Burns, 31st and 32nd, and then behind them, Shane O'Neill, Justin Andrews, Stephen Thornton, and Dakota Knoll, rounding out your 36-car field for tonight's race.
Yeah, it's a big field, and well, there's some big names starting back there. Alonso Chicano really comes to mind. He's a former champion, of the series, and see him starting back in 30th. I assume he just messed up his fast lap, so he's gonna have a lot of traffic to get through, and it's pretty scary because it'll still be a little bit like a pack race as the tires are fresh. So
His truck rolls away, and again, it'll be Rivers Jones and Justin Durand leading the field. The 18 in control of the field ahead of field number 5. Michael Truder and Stephen Maggio behind on row number 2, looking to try and take as much back as possible. And I think we saw further back in shot, maybe, I don't know the full story, maybe someone a bit naughty last week at Daytona getting an EOL will start from the tail end of this group. We'll wait and see how that all shuffles out. Looks like it might be our P13 sort of Levi Poland dropping back to the tail end there.
yeah, serving EOL and take that there. So he'll drop to the rear of the grid, and we'll do our picks to win, and I'll go first. Or actually, I'll let you choose if you want to go first or not.
I mean, I don't have much else to go on. I know Justin Durand impressed in practice, but I like that purple Yahoo number 18 truck. I think Rivers Jones going to take it from the pole. Safest bet for me right now, and I'm going to take it.
Now, I'm going to go with one of my good buddies, and he's very good at these mile and a halves. He's in the number 7. I'm going to go with Michael Walls. Just have a gut feeling. He's won at a mile and a half before. He's won at a few mile and a halves. And he's very good at managing these types of races. I think he'll get it done tonight. As the pace truck is off. Green flag in hand. Rivers Jones are going to lead him down to the green flag.
Field of 36 trucks rolled into one. Cars already looking to take it 3 wide there on the top side. Gonna stay double file just for the most part right now. Remember, it's a long race, 200 miles here in the Nevada desert. And so far it is Durand and Jones still in lockstep with the field scattering behind. Now they're 3 wide into turn number 3. But for the most part, they all leave each other room. They know what's at stake here. And oh, never mind, 4 wide on the apron is number 30 truck. Well, keep an eye on this. Justin Durand has managed to take the lead off that initial start. The high side just proving super powerful on the momentum through 3 and 4.
Yeah, this high side really does work. This is a track where you can kind of go anywhere, especially as tires wear. I was, before today, I didn't know if it was going to be a night race, so I thought, we were kind of going to see a single groove. Maybe that second lane will work, but I think all grooves are coming into play tonight. And it's proven by seeing everyone kind of fan out here the first couple laps.
Yes,
it's rotten. Oh, excuse me, you go.
We had those sketchy moments 3-4 wide in the sort of lap 1, lap 2, but now everyone's settling into a rhythm. Now everyone's sort of realizing it could be 40 laps or so until your pit stop. You want to really make sure, especially that right rear stays underneath you. It's very easy to sort of over push and end up losing that. And hard to control the right rear just spirals worse and worse. Same with the right front as well. See which trucks get loose and which ones get tight as the run goes on. But it looks like actually we're already going to have a lapper to deal with, because not only was there an EOL there, but I think a drive-through penalty. So Durand is going to have a little bit of trouble here getting around that truck of, who was it again? It was Levi Poland.
Yeah. That wasn't just a EOL, it was also a drive-through, and his goal, so first stage, the only stage caution we have is at 34, so this is a kind of a sprint. I mean, that's a pretty long run, so he's going to have to earn his money to stay on this lead lap. If not, then he'll have to stay that first truck 1 lap down and get the free pass at the end of the stage. So he's just kind of on damage control at this point, getting that drive-through. But yeah, like you said, managing the right rear. And that's very interesting you say that, because if it's nighttime, and especially if you're in traffic, I would think you would have to worry about the right front. But being a day Las Vegas race and it being so hot, you're right. I think you kind of have to manage that right rear. You're going to have to be thinking about that a little bit as you go around. go along in this run. You got to kind of pick and choose when you do try to pass, because it's just naturally so tough on your tires when you try to pass people. And I think you're kind of seeing that early on. Everyone's just kind of minding their business. These top 10, 15 trucks aren't really pushing it. They're kind of just staying in line, just trying to bide their time for the end of this stage, and maybe that's when they can make their move. Excuse me.
Yeah, of course, if you're really trying to make like, just on the top side, you've got to keep a lot more throttle into it than you'd normally want to try and lift a little bit just to save the tire. And you sort of using that for rotation, but that inherently has that slide that takes some of the life out of the tire. So you really have to pick your battles and not make too many of those high side moves, because sooner or later you're going backwards rather than forwards.
And it's tough if you're starting back there, because you're like Alonso Khan or Cameron Caldwell. You qualify kind of worse than what you expected. These are guys that we expect to qualify up front, and they qualify poorly, and they have to conserve tires, but also make it to the front, because I bet you they could go a little bit faster right now if they really, really wanted to, and just maybe blast through that field. But I mean, especially the first few laps is when you do the most damage to your tires. So if you do that, you're going to be toast come lap 34 of this run, and you might end up right back where you started. So they just have to kind of manage that, and it's a lot easier said than done. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things in oval racing. You've got to stay ahead of the 8-ball. You don't want to be chasing that adjustment, chasing that fuel save, chasing the tire wear, because the more you go after it, the more it's going to fall away from you. You want to be, from the very start of the stint, knowing what your target is and going with it. And I think we're not going to see it just yet, of course, but I think as we get towards sort of lap 25, towards that mid to late stage of this first stage, you'll really see which trucks are managing that, as a little bit from the 68 just drifting up the track a little bit. That's not going to be the best for the tyres. The car just a touch too early, and Caldwell is going to run away just a little bit.
He's got his sights set on Jacob Locklear ahead of him, trying to catch his draft. He does have it, but you want to be kind of right with him, because everyone's all on top of each other. No one's really able to break away from each other, which is the nature of the trucks. That's why people like them. Here at the stock car side, that's why they're the most popular stock cars. You can just kind of be on top of each other. You can make moves, and they're kind of fun to wheel and deal. So I expect these guys to kind of be on top of each other most of the night, even though the track takes 135, and you expect there to be a lot of tire fall off and people getting away from each other. You might see that a little bit at the end of the run, but still everyone's kind of on top of each other.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm a little bit surprised by is the fact that Levi's managed to keep these trucks at bay and actually maybe pull away a little bit. I guess could be using that tire wear early, hoping for that earlier caution to let them catch back up to the field and live to fight another day. But I'm worried that if we get a sort of green flag stage 1, that truck could come reeling back in much quicker than we think for a bit of a battle here. As no, we've got a caution behind, and it looks like it could be Ryan Bogey at the back of the field. And yeah, instant in turns 1 and 2, and that truck is sideways, and that'll be the bailout that Levi was looking for. We'll look back and see what it was that caused this incident. Oh, this truck from... Oh!
Yeah, just kind of an awkward 3-wide moment.
Yeah.
Kind of happened late. Traber Burns went for a gap. I'm not sure. I actually don't know which truck that was below Traber, but I don't think they were expecting it. And Traber got into Ryan Bogey, and he doesn't have too much damage. I don't see the rear tailgate on his truck.
So you see that Coca-Cola truck go to the low side, and then they sort of rejoin, and doesn't leave the car in the middle much place to go, and it sends this car around and brings out our first caution of the night on lap number 12. Looks like
that was Andrew Davis in the Coca-Cola truck.
Davis in the Coca-Cola truck, okay. So we have our first stoppage of the night. It looks like pit lane is open. are we going to have many takers down? It looks like maybe not so many, but there's going to be a few, of course, and some repairs being taken on those trucks. Apologies, my timing screen's lagging like nothing else right now, so I'm struggling to keep up with the action. But we'll work through it. Of course, right now it is Justin Durand still leading the field, taking the lead. That's the other Durand from that opening lap move around the outside. But Jones and Trudeau really wanting to put the pressure on, never really let Justin get away in that 3-car breakaway. And it comes to lap, we start on lap 17, it will be roles reversed. It'll be number 18 on the outside looking to make that move on the restart, of course. Tyre wear starting to be a factor. We'll see who's managed it well. And whether that strategy gamble for those 4 trucks at the back can pay off.
I'll say we're assuming that Justin Durand is the bottom because we got a little something called the choose cone.
Right.
Everyone gets to choose.
Everyone chooses. Oh, chaos.
Everyone, not just the leader. Yeah, so this should be very interesting. You're gonna see this when we're coming to 1 to go. Everyone's gonna have to choose either the high line or the low line, and it's actually a strategy because, you know, at this track, I think both lanes are about equal, but at a track like, I'll just say Martinsville, I don't even think that's on the schedule. I'm sorry, we were coming to the choose, so that is a perfect example of it. Rivers Jones picked the bottom behind Justin Durand instead of being on the outside of him, and that moves Michael Kruger up a row. So Michael Kruger is technically starting second. So Rivers Jones gave up a spot to be in the lane that he wants to be.
Yeah, and I think this might be less of a racing strategy one and more of a visibility situation. It's always tricky in, especially on a single monitor in the sim, to be able to see a truck inside of you and see when they launch. I much prefer being directly behind just so I can follow them and get the fastest possible reaction in the restart. But it does mean we have a front row of yellow and black here. Durand and Kruger going to lead the field back to green as we complete our 16th of 134 laps, about halfway through this opening stage. And it looks like all trucks are still on the straight, are still running. Ryan Burgess exiting pit lane to catch back up to the field after taking some repairs there.
Yeah, Bogey's truck seems to be pretty damaged, unfortunately, from that. So I don't even think he'll be caught up for the green flag. It'll be close. As
1 lap down. Yeah, so had to take maybe some meatball repairs there, but is in the lucky odd position for inter-stage caution. But before that, Durand gets the jump, and 41 follows really well, actually. Kruger's going to be clear and have a chance to merge down into a single line if he wants it. And for Jones, the decision's not quite going to work out. Going to have to settle in behind and fend off the attack from the 76 behind and the 51, I believe that is, yeah.
So I do like Rivers Jones' decision in a vacuum, but one thing I don't think he accounted for is that Justin Durand and Michael Kruger, they are in the same voice call.
Yeah.
They are on affiliate teams.
You don't need to look if you can hear.
You don't need to look if you can hear. That's exactly right. Oh, we got a big crash on the front straightaway. I don't even know who it was. Ooh, the 11. That's Fidel Fabian. He's got a smoking truck. His day is done. See Andrew Davis going through the grass. This would be interesting to see. I saw a truck go flying across the field. I'm surprised that wasn't a bigger crash.
Oh.
Parking lot ahead of that.
Yeah, so the Coca-Cola truck here just goes down to the apron immediately to avoid any issues. Do we know which trucks were involved in that incident?
That started around
number 11.
Yeah, it started around Brett Bennett is where that started. Oh my goodness. Just a little bit of contact between the 9 and the 6. Yeah, kind of just triggered that. Fidel Fabian nowhere to go in the 11 truck and everyone else.
So out at the front, the 18 and the 6, and log jam on the high side everyone washes up the track. The cars that are down low get to avoid, but that's 5 cars significantly damaged. Make that 6. And the off-roading experience seems like maybe the right call there. Seeing that mess ahead of you.
Yeah, all you get is that 1X, so you just kind of take that 1X and your not damaged race truck and move on. Yeah, Duncan Falls got a lot of damage. I saw Tristan Maher with a decent amount. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. These are some pretty heavy hitters that, you know, they're all capable of running up front and winning races, and now they're behind the 8 ball.
And we do see the lucky dog being taken there by the 21 truck of Ryan Bodie. Going to take the opportunity to get back onto the lead lap as the beneficiary of that big accident. But we might see more trucks now fighting for that going forward. Just do a quick reboot of my overlays just to make sure that all back and running for the rest of this race. Need some hold music whilst the play was happening.
So again, not many takers down pit road. Just kind of, if you're involved in that, make sure you don't have damage and making sure you get it repaired.
Well, you know there's a caution coming up on lap 34, so
yeah, and that's one thing, you don't have unlimited tire sets, so it's kind of just, when I ran these races, because the tire sets thing hasn't changed since I was last full time. My general rule of thumb was always use the set of tires you start on in that first stage. That's the only set of tires you're allowed. And leave the rest for the rest of the race. And that would kind of leave you in a good spot, and that's kind of the accepted strategy. And now, if you're in a different situation, you need stage points for, let's just say you're in a playoff race, you need stage points, you're deep in the field, you could use this opportunity to get your tires, and you'll blast through the field and you'll win the stage, but you'll just be down a tire set. So it is a little earlier in the race, and definitely early in the season, to kind of be trying something that drastic.
yeah, you see lights are out on the pace car, so everyone's made the choose, and I think Justin Durand has once again gone to the low side, so we're racking these very similar to how we were at the start of the race. We have, unfortunately, got 2 trucks maybe out already. Fidel Fabian and Christopher Smeltzer in the 11 and the 19. Duncan Foe and Ryan Bodie have both gone 1 lap down again. No, I think Bodie's going to rejoin back with us. No, has been back a lap down to take the pass. So had the opportunity to wave around but didn't take it. And that could be a tricky decision with a lot of trucks now fighting for that spot as the pace car pulls back off again, and we see the restart from Justin Durand.
Jones got a better restart that time. He's going to be able to contend with Michael Kruger for that second spot. Sorry. Michael Kruger was out of shape getting the push from Steven Maggio.
I mean, this thing, it's with how these, especially with the short sprint now to that stage caution, you're going to want to be a bit more aggressive, and you've got a big surface to make those pushes if you need it. But you've got to be very careful, especially with how short the back stretch is here. That you're making it clean that you're getting back disengaged before the entry to turn number 3 and you start getting out of line again.
Yeah, because last week, I know we didn't broadcast it, but last week, you can kind of push in the corners, not really in the trucks, but it is technically possible. You know, it's just a completely full throttle racetrack. Here, you do not want to be connected going into the corner. You will send that other truck spinning. Thing I do want to applaud all these drivers for on these 2 restarts weren't big problems with wheel spin on older tires. On this track surface, it is tough to get hooked up on these restarts. Usually it's on old tires and there's a restart crash.
Yeah, it's very easy to make that happen, but good job so far.
Good job.
we see follow with Cameron Caldwell. Actually, I want to shout out a couple of drivers up 17 spots from where they started. It's in this group. We got Nathan Fuller, Oliver Chicano, and Trevor Burns all up 17. Made their way to the back of the field into the top 15 and working towards the top 10 now is Nathan Fuller, who has cleared this pack and looking to go after the 10-car breakaway a little bit further up.
Nathan Fuller, that's another one who started poorly. Usually starts really good. Usually has a lot of speed. He hasn't won yet in this series, but he has a lot of speed. And on that note, I really want him to take that next step. And I know he can, and I know he expects it of himself. Just putting whole races together. A lot last season, he would beat himself. Self-spinning from a top 3 spot, and he has a chance to win. Just kind of making mental errors. He's got the speed. It's hard to learn racecraft. I want him to kind of take that next step and kind of grasp the racecraft part of that, because he'll start winning a lot of races if he can put that together.
Ryan Bodie back on pit road, it seems like. Still having troubles with that truck, and now going to fall 3 laps down. That'll move the 17 of Tristan Maher into that lucky dog spot, which is going to come up in just a few laps' time with his staged caution.
I'm sure that 21 truck must be borderline undrivable if he's got to come back down under green. He doesn't want to do that,
yeah.
So he's going to be just logging laps, hoping others have some misfortune, trying to just get some points from here on out.
Yeah, I think we do already have 3 trucks retired from this race, with the 28 of Duncan Farr now joining that crew in the garage, but you can still click off some laps. There can be some big influence in the rest of this race, and only -4 right now. There's still a chance to make some moves. If this race goes south, maybe even get a couple of trucks back into contention.
You never know.
We left 3 wide for a second further back in this field.
Yeah, these guys back here get racy. They want to get back towards that front. And it's awesome having all these choices, but with as close to full throttle as you usually are in this truck, it is tough to make up spots sometimes. It can be frustrating when you're back here. And sometimes I miss being on the racetrack, but if I was, around that 20th, 25th spot, I would not really want to be out there. It's so tough to make moves.
No change so far at the front of the field. It is again Miranda and Kruger kind of working together a little bit, but Jones not letting them get away. Staying on their heels is now 5 leaving the low side open. Maybe that can't be a clean air thing, surely. That's just a preferred line for the number 5, I'd think. There.
Yeah, especially in 1 and 2, that running on that first seam, I don't like it. It's a very good line, and you can make it work in 3 and 4 too. And both those JCTV trucks are making use of that second line in 3 and 4, and it's kind of like the best of both worlds. You're kind of cutting that radius pretty short, and you get a decent amount of momentum. So at this track, it's something about it that I really like. It's time they both go to the bottom. It always works out like that on broadcast, where you point out a line, and then they kind of do the opposite the next time.
And here we go, 3 and 4. There's no telling what they'll do here.
Yeah, and if I'm Michael Kruger, I'd kind of just do what Justin Duran doesn't, because that would be a clean air play, because I think both lines are kind of equal, and it all depends on how your truck's handling at the end of the day, but you do want to get clean air on the front of that truck like you see him doing there.
And of course, this is all as well just eyeing up the moves that you might be making later in the race. Of course, the track conditions are going to change a little bit as the day goes on, but you can use these as a little bit of a trial run. Just poke your nose, especially with someone you know you can trust here at the front of the field, and see what can get going. But we are, I believe, 2 to go in the stage here. Is it the end of 34 we're looking at for when the caution gets done?
Yeah, the end of 34. So we got a couple laps here, and that's a couple laps for Michael Kruger to size up his teammate there. Trying to see if he can make a move here and see what he needs in that truck for a little bit later.
I think very much glued to that low side end, willing to go up onto that second line a little bit more. Kruger wanting to try and stay low, maybe looking for a mistake or a wiggle that he can then slot up the inside, but with a 2/10 advantage for the number 5, I think Durand is going to hold on to take the first stage.
Yeah, barring a mistake, I kind of agree because it's tough to make it work in just one corner if you're Michael Kruger to make a kind of a bonsai move. But these two have kind of pulled away from the rest of the pack. They did a really good job in this first stage of saving their tires. Coming to take the green-white checker flag. Justin Durand will win stage 1. And get stage points. Just throttle get the last one. The 76 goat machine in the P10 position.
And crucial timing on that caution because Jonathan Jurgensmeyer was about to go a lap down, still wounded from that earlier incident, but did have another chance to get through to that truck and get some more panels bent back into shape, and will stay on the lead lap. Tristan Maher will be the beneficiary of this one.
Yeah, and Tristan Maher was the biggest Jonathan Jurgensmeyer fan that run, and it pays off because now he gets the free passes. If not, Jurgensmeyer would have gotten past. Tristan Maher would have been trapped a lap down, and that would have been a lot tougher to come back from now that there's no more scheduled cautions, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer can get his truck hopefully fixed up and get back in this thing.
Could also be a thing where I decided to run on old tires, maybe get the best taken out of them through that spin, just try to get to the stage so that you can save that fresh set for if you have a late caution you need him to do that check. I imagine we see pretty much everyone down on pit road this time by. A few who might have hit on the previous caution might make the gamble, but it's all eyes down to the pit crews now. We'll see which of these JCTV trucks has the better job on pit road. The entry is obviously a lot simpler here with it being a caution stop, but it's about how well you hit your marks into the box. The lineup does matter for a little bit, and then basically don't spin the wheels on the way out. We'll see at the very front of the field. We'll roll in. Oh, missed the box.
Ooh. Just like you said, you got to get in that box perfectly, and not only does it affect the time, you don't want to roll through it because then you got to back up. So Justin Durand probably won't come out with the lead here.
No, won't. It will be. Oh, David Durand stayed out, but it'll be Michael Kruger taking lead, and Justin Durand actually going to fall 4th off pit road, will fall to 5th on the racetrack. David Durand last pit on lap 20, so now 17 lap old tyres at the front of the field with a crew of hounding trucks behind, you've got to say, but there'll be at least one friend in there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to be out there on something.
Oh, no, I wouldn't like it either.
Not on this hot racetrack, but
you gotta try something though. Started 31st in the field. Maybe you think there'll be a short run and then a caution, and then everyone will be forced down to pit road anyway. You don't lose too many spots. Oh, maybe.
Just, David Durand is
down on
pit road.
Yeah. Get the broadcast time. Here you go, camera all to yourself. Don't miss the box there.
Yep, and get a point for leading lap there too, so those French tires on there and take those spots. And he's one that really likes the high line usually, David Durand, so expect to see him up there trying to pass people.
Racking back up for the restart. We're going to be restarting with just under 100 laps to go. We have a fresh face on the front row of the field. Stephen Maggio started 4th, but with that misstep on pit road and with Jones pitting the low side again, it'll leave the 51 Aris truck on the outside line, leading the field back to green here. Of course, Kruger will have control of the field, and I'm sure Durand will be looking to get that jump as quickly as possible, with reporter behind maybe as well, getting a little bit of communication.
Maggio, last season's champion. He missed last week, so I'm sure he just wants a nice clean day, get some points, get his season started right, so start his title defense. this truck. Back off. Michael Kruger is your leader. He is off and away again.
And this time you see the 51 just left behind, doesn't have that signal. And I think it is going to come down to what Jones can do here. Going through 1 and 2 on the low side. 5 going to tuck in behind as well. Man wants to follow here and leave the 51 out to dry on the top side. But they're still going to be racing here. The 5 is looking to maybe poke the nose 3, but instead gives a push to Jones. And Jones, I think, should have a good chance of clearing in 3 and 4. Maybe put up a good fight here. But a little bit of a wiggle. I think the 18 is going to have the opportunity here. Maybe not. This is a really tight battle between the two of them here, and this is just backing up the rest of the field. And you can see Durand is very impatient, trying to pick any way past, give help to whoever he needs to. Now Jones will finally clear with Maggio slotting behind, and Durand didn't be left waiting, still stuck in 4th place.
Michael Kruger was loving that in his rearview mirror. He's like, yeah, stay side by side. But they get single file, and now they'll probably all go into tire conservation mode, because as far as we know, you might have to run this thing out of gas before the next time you get down pit road. That is a long run here at Vegas, probably upwards of 50 laps. So got to really conserve those tires so that you can be there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, the magic number you don't want to hit here, if you can, is 47 laps. Try and split the rest of this race in 2, and that'll give you just 1 stop to the end. But in races like this, it's not unheard of for the tires to pull you in before the fuel does. Not even just on a meatball flag and a tire down, but in terms of how much the pace drops off. We're talking fastest race laps here in the mid 31 range. Rivers Jones actually did set the fastest lap. I've actually jumped back in time looking at that. But up to second with that 31.448. And actually, there's been an incident for Josh Coppenall, who is now down on pit road. We'll see if we can look at that. But first of all, Justin Durand, goes to the low side, swings through Maggio by surprise, and it looks like they're going to get the low side and shuffle Steve Maggio down into P4. As long as he can complete the move, but again, fight on the high side. There's some momentum to be found there, and now he's getting the draft of the cars that move up to the wall.
This battle's pretty fierce, and Justin, man, he wants to get back to that lead so bad, make up for that mistake of sliding through his pit box, but gonna have to settle for being back in P4.
And not just that, but Maggio has eyes forward now as well, poking the nose at the 18, and don't count out Sean Hussein, who is now the inside of the number 5 truck and looking to try and put some pressure on. This is going to be a pretty fierce battle between these two, I'm pretty sure.
These bumpers on these trucks must not line up as good as I remember, because they were hitting squirrely again, just kind of pushing each other on the back straightaway.
Goes to the low side, and this time Durand's going to try up top, and he's going to maybe get the overlap. Not quite. The door gets shut.
There was maybe 1 inch between those two trucks. That was almost a disaster. Thank God for spotters.
Yeah, sure thing. But this is some great racing. And again, you might not think this is too crucial, but you want to try and be decisive with the moves you make. You want to try and be committed, not let someone past if you think you'll have to go back around them later. So that's 2 times you're in side by side and you'll be off your 3rd line. Durand, though, I think just wants to try and get back up to his teammate as quickly as possible, and maybe give a little bit of a push towards corner entry, trying to settle 51, but no move to Steve Maggio holds on that Toyota.
Yeah, Steve Maggio's doing a very, very impressive job of kind of keeping him back, while also I think he's conserving his tires very well. He's kind of juggling it, and Justin Durand gets this right where he's got.
Especially this time, has to leave the room.
Yeah, that should make that pass a little bit easier for him. Maggio, great job. Had a great 3 and 4 to keep it ahead of Durand for the time being.
And the problem with being on that high side and just having your nose alongside is you've got to wait for the truck ahead to turn in, otherwise you're in a right rear hook and get a weak suspension. So
Yeah.
it's not always as easy as it seems. You've got to manage side by side. Now you can maybe bully him a little bit on the low side, dictate your line a little bit more, but he's going to stay in the middle of the racetrack there, try and carry the momentum. And Steven Maggio, sorry, he's going to do a great job trying to hand it on the low side, but Durand just about clear and immediately decides he wants to take that space and looks behind now Alex Kerfen in the Chevrolet Silverado, trying to follow the same line. And I think maybe a little bit of the tyres gone on Steven Maggio's truck, and it'll be 1 and 2 and a little bit of contact. He'll gather it up and slot just ahead of Sean Chastain there.
Yeah, he needs to catch his breath here, having those two Chevrolets go around his Toyota. And wow, Kerfen, he's been a little quiet today. He's our defending regular season champion, runner-up last season in the points. He's starting to show his hand a little bit here. Kerfen's market Chevrolet.
Durand's worked forward one position off this restart now, and you're starting to see some trucks who have been making much bigger moves through the field and want to, try and push Justin forward here. You can see in the body language of that number 30 truck that Alex wants to go and he doesn't care who's in the way and what plans they have.
Yeah, he's a wheelman. That is usually his MO. He kind of puts his head down. He had a career year last year. It was very good to see him have a bounce back because he had a long winning streak before last season. Winless streak, before last season. Broke through last season, was able to win a few races, contend for the championship, and I know he thinks he can do one spot better. And I think everyone who just JCTV knows he can do one spot better in the points than he did last season.
It's always so tricky once you get into that sort of playoff system. It's so much higher stakes, and sort of one wrong move, if it's not from you, can set you back so much and really put you, out of contention. It looks like we have Brett Bennett, the first truck now in this run, who is in danger of going a lap down in that number 6.
Sorry, that truck looks out of control. I'm sure he's just going to try and stay out of the way.
Last lap of 34.6. There's definitely something amiss on that number 6 truck, and we'll go a lap down here. We're in the high side, nice and smooth to let everyone through. And we'll look forward as the battle resumes here. Kerfen still tucked right underneath the bumper. I think there's a little bit of movement we've seen where trucks have been getting hooked up sort of late on that back stretch, and it's not doing much to push the truck forward. It's more just unsettling them as they go for the turning point for turn number 3.
It's a very bumpy racetrack, and it's kind of look just on edge all race, and at least exciting racing, and guys are kind of all just biding their time. The front two are kind of starting to a little bit of a gap on Justin Durand. I think that's kind of, I think Alex Kerfen sees that and he's like, man, I want to go. I want to go get them.
And it doesn't matter if the reason that gap's building is that Durand is looking and saying, I want to save my tires as a long run. If other cars start making moves and putting you into battles, all of that tire saving you've set out to do will be for nothing, as that's a truck exit in the pit. I think that's Josh Coppenall, who has fallen a dozen laps down after the earlier incident.
Yeah, but that's a very good point, because yes, of course you want to save tires, and you can build a gap all you want like he does, and that's smart to get cleaner air on your nose, but if you start letting people go, that is a bunch of percentage points on your tires that you're going to have to use later to pass those guys. So it's all kind of a risk reward type of thing.
He's got no intention of letting them go. You can see you've put a very stout fence on Alex Kerfen behind, but again, I don't think the 30 is willing to wait that long. Maybe has given Justin the hurry up to get back in now within half a second off the leader once again. Still eyeing up that move. You've got to see sort of
Oh, sorry. A couple a little bit on entrance. I don't see any damage on his truck, so he should be okay, but don't want to do that too much.
That's just one where I think the geometry of the walls sometimes catches you out as you try and open up the entrances. Rivers Jones looks for the inside line. Kuda leaves the room, but I don't think the overlap's there for the 18 and will slot back in. That was our first real peak for the lead that's come from our 18 truck. And Rivers Jones, who again started on the pole here, looking to try and get back there.
Yeah, I think Rivers Jones is starting to size up Michael Kruger, kind of see what he's got. See how much tire he saves, see who's done a little bit better in that regard.
Got a side-by-side battle here for P5 now as Steven Measure and Sean Hussein. Again, Measure restarted here second place, but got a little bit swallowed up. Now the fellow Toyota Tundra, Sean Hussein's looking to try and get the move. Mika Walls getting alongside to maybe give a little bit of a respite there. Now they'll be fighting side by side, and actually it's a great run off the exit of the corner, and Mika Wells will move up into P6 with that move. Race high, and now going to look to try and get into top 5 next up that 51 of Steven Maggio.
Michael Walls, he's kind of been quiet today, and one thing you should know about him, probably the most aggressive driver in the field. You haven't seen it yet, thankfully, but yeah, boy, do I have some stories with him, and we'll leave that for a different day.
So, Mark Lima, IRP on the calendar.
Yes. You should mark that one on the calendar.
There's a little bit of a breakaway here. We whip back to that Coca-Cola truck we saw earlier. That's Andrew Davis in number 40. It's trailing about a second and a half from the field ahead, and actually getting to the wall. I don't think that truck's necessarily 100%, and it turns out Pepsi's better. David Duran Jr. goes up into P19 and will try and lead these straddlers back into this lead pack of 17 trucks now. Get into the wall for Andrew Davis.
Duran started out back. He had to start tail end because he hit on that one to green. And he's moved his way back up now to that 18th place. And his front four kind of starting to tighten up a little bit. Because that gap between Durand and Jones was about a half a second, 3/4 of a second. Now, back together again.
Oh! Trouble further back here.
Oh! Saw a couple of the JCTV trucks just absolutely lose it. Surprised they kept it safe, and Traver's still on the apron.
Yeah, and the problem, of course, the apron's now full of marbles with the new update that we've got. Gets it gathered back up, the race will stay green, but that's a huge number of positions dropped and a little bit of a scare for everyone in the tail end of that pack. We'll realize further back forward again because Mika Walls, has cleared Maggio and is right there, and now this top four all get in the hurry up. Rivers Jones now side by side with Durand as the five's gotten to the low side. We've seen that high side move work really well for people. I think it uses up some tire, but it is maybe the faster line if you've got it to use. Jones will defend here. Cuffin nearly got alongside Durand on the exit of turn 2, but I think Walls is the truck to watch here. Made a good few moves on this restart. Is now putting a heap of pressure on Alex Cuffin. And let's not forget, Alonso Chicano up 23 spots in this race, started 30th, now P7, and Nathan Fuller up 20 spots to P9. They're both going to be knocking on the door sooner rather than later.
I can't tell you how impressive that is. Nathan Fuller and Alonso Chicano to be up here. I mean, they got a chance at this win here. From starting 29th and 30th, that's really impressive that they put themselves in that position.
I'm wondering if that's the sort of situation where they got their sort of warm-up lap in, but then had the wall, had a spin on their flying lap, had to start near the tail end of the field, but had that outright pace, and maybe if they'd been an inch further the other way, could have been towards the front couple rows of the field. And let's get back there now.
Yeah, and especially, Alonso Ducano, Nathan Fuller, those are guys I expected to see qualify up front. I was shocked to see their names that low, so you knew they could make it up to the front, but man, it's a lot easier to say, yeah, just drive through the whole field than to actually do it. And now they've basically done it. They got a chance to really battle for this win here.
Nearly 3 wide further back there, so the moves aren't getting any easier. They were side by side with actually, it looks like number 5, that's Justin Durand getting a little bit swallowed up, or am I just looking at a lap of pit stop? No, that is Durand down into, hang on. Why do I see 3 trucks ahead? There's got to be a lapper in there, right?
Yeah, there's a lapper. It's 90 Levi Poland. He's on fresher tires. So
yeah, actually, I just came out of pit lane. Maybe actually was 2 laps down, but fought for it back.
Yeah, so that's just
but a very similar steam twice curve, and that really threw me for a loop.
Yeah, that red, white, and blue, they do look pretty similar there. It was, yeah, that was just a lapper getting his lap back on a little bit fresher tires, so no foul. But battle is still on for 3rd place here, though. These guys are all under a blanket.
Yeah, and Kerfen getting that high side to try and fend off Mika Walls, but see it on the back of the truck, I'm sure wants to show he's the GOAT and going to have side by side coming through the exit of 3 and 4 and follow Justin Durand into the draft, but the momentum for that just fending off for now. This is the moves sometimes are taking 3 or 4 laps to complete here to actually get around. And again, that's where the real pain comes on the tyre life, where you just end up not able to use the whole track, which is obviously the most efficient way around.
Because all these guys are so good that if you just put them on a racetrack by themselves, yeah, they'll save tires perfectly, right? And they'll be perfect, but then it's really tough when you're starting to race people, and you got to pick and choose when you make your move, because if you make it and it takes too long, you just burnt your tires, and now you're going to be way behind Michael Kruger or Gregory Jones, or it really is a skill in and of itself, and you have to pick and yeah, you just have to pick and choose when you do it.
Yeah, and the other thing is that by going for that attack, you leave yourself open from behind, and that's what just happened to Kerfen. Went to try and go for P3 on Justin Durand, and that was the opportunity Mika Walls needed to pick open a spot and get around, and now suddenly it's the number 7 who's looking to try and take that 3rd position instead. I'm sure 30 looking to try and get back there and reverse the fortune as a little touch. But Walls is there and is clear of the truck behind, and they'll slot back in. But again, if you're Kruger or Jones in the front 2, this is looking very nice in your mirror, because as long as this isn't you've got to worry about, you can just save tyre, you can build a little bit of a gap, and then that makes the rest of your life so much easier.
Yeah, Rivers Jones and Michael Kruger should be thinking, all right, if we make this a 2-horse race, this will be easier. They really shouldn't be thinking, let's get side by side right now.
And of course, maybe this is a little bit of a I think where Durand sees the teammate run off ahead and goes, I really want to be there, but what I definitely don't want to do is let someone get there and start challenging. If I have to play a rear gunner in this situation, I'd prefer that over nothing. But it looks like Walls will not be stopped. Has made a big charge to the field in this stint. Is he going to be able to clear off of turn 2? No. Durand rips the outside but gets into the wall, and that'll drop him down to P5 now. And now it's a clear sight for Mika Walls up to these front 2, and the question is how much tire does he have left after fighting through that field?
I think he's definitely got the long run pace to do it. And I mean, you got to still go through a pit stop, and that's a whole nother animal, and especially if we got to do it under green, which this race looks like it has a green feel to it. So all that's going to come down to when you pit and, you know, how you do on your in and out lap. That's kind of not talked about as much in oval racing as the in and out lap, but that matters just as much as your pit stop, as Michael Kruger is down pit road. So that start the green flag cycle. That's pretty early.
I've got to say, I'm not sure if that was clean. I saw a big puff of smoke and get straddled on that a little bit, and maybe just gets in within the cone and within the speed limit. Very close call for Michael Kruger, who's now stationary in the box, and will check to make sure he didn't get a penalty for that entry.
Yeah, he's good. No black flags for Kruger, and he got in his box just fine.
But we're talking nearly 60 laps to go, so I think that's Kruger pulling the pin on a 2-stop to the end here from the start of that stage, or from the end of that stage, I should say. And the question is, how confident is he that people can't make that 1-stop work instead? As into the wall a little bit went Steven DiMaggio before down a few positions, and those wall scrapes are not what Kruger wants to hit. He wants this to stay green now.
Yeah, because a caution, speaking of pull the pin, that pulls the pin on his entire race, because then he's going to be behind the 8 ball and have a lot of people to pass.
But it looks like a lot of drivers that are making that same call. You're seeing this is the 4 car of Nathan Fuller, who just like that is going to get around nearly everyone in this field, just a few more. And this is the difference between fresh tyres and old tyres. The four's been about 2 seconds now. Leaders running 33.7s. They'd have a last lap of 32.1, but obviously fresh tyres we know can do mid 31s in clean air. And you can see just how he's eating through the field here.
It looks like Superman, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
But you got to pay the piper at the end of the stint as, oh my goodness, 3 wide there around the top side, making it look easy as Mika Walls looking for the race lead. That was around the leaders side by side. No fear, needing to take advantage of the fresh tyres while you've got them. But it looks like the 7 will move in, and we have a new race leader now. Started 8th on the grid, but now moving into the point ahead of Rivers Jones. The question is, can they make that 1-stop strategy work? Because if not, they've given the other trucks a massive, massive undercut here.
Yeah, and Mike is leading now, and it all depends on the way this works, because 60 laps, that doesn't sound like you can do that on 1 tank of gas, but and if so, I wouldn't want to cut it that short anyway, even if you could, because you're really going to pay that price come the last 10 laps of the race. So I mean, I guess we're just going to have to see how this all plays out, but I'd be shocked if...
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be shocked if I mean, I don't know. The way the follow-up is, the 2-stopper might technically be faster, but
I think the problem is that we're too close to the window.
Yeah, that's right.
Kuda's only just gotten the lap back. Now back on the lead lap in 23rd position. But this stint length, we're talking 45 laps so far. We'll say 42 under green. If you make it 5 more, you're basically splitting it in half, and at that point you're free to make your pit stop. They'll have the undercut, sure, but you'll have the fresher tyres for the rest of that stint, and then when they come in for their final stop, you're home free to the end.
I would rather, a round cut in half. Usually what I like to do is go a little bit longer. Usually that works out a little bit more. You have the fresher tires for the entire last part of that race, and I think that's what these trucks that are staying out are doing. I mean, it seems to be what most trucks want to do. I think I'm a little shocked Michael Kruger did that. I mean, he must have did the math in his head, and I hope he could prove me wrong, because he was just kind of looking dominant out there. And I don't want to downplay Michael Wall's kind of drive through that field though, because that's really impressive the way he was able to drive through the field with. It's not tough to pass, but the way how equal everyone is in this top 5, it was tough to make it work. And Michael Wall's just kind of methodically worked his way to that lead and kind of looked like Jimmy Johnson out there a little bit. The guy, his helmet's modeled after.
And as we come to the line here, it'll be 50 laps to go in this event. Walls is running really high through 3 and 4. No look down pit road yet. And that pretty much confirms that the one stop is going to be possible. We see Chicana Pit climb from P30 now up into P4 by falling back down the field here. As he slides the box maybe a little bit. No, the crew can get to that. No, they can't.
No, they can't.
That's a good few seconds lost and a lot of hard work. Gonna have to fight through again on that one.
And this is going to be a side note because I'm sure you guys saw that. Something I wish iRacing would fix, because the rule of NASCAR is as long as you're not on that line, you're good to go. I kind of wish they would make it more like that, because not every pit box is coded like that. Sometimes you'll be too far forward and you still have room forward to get the stop done. It's something I wish they would fix. That's just a sidebar.
Because there's a little bit of variance depending on sort of exactly where you line up, and if the crew has to shuffle, you especially see it in the IndyCar, but it's very much thing in the stock cars as well. But maybe they just need to widen that window, let that cost you like 3-4 seconds if they've really got to get into gear. But ultimately, you're in a spot where they can service the truck, and so it's probably quicker than you throwing it into reverse and coming back out. As I think was that was Justin Durand, who's now just been off pit road there.
Yeah,
and you see how tricky it can be, the marbles. So you've basically got to spend that entire first lap just cleaning the tires up again after what you've had to drive through.
One treacherous apron. With this new update, I've never seen it quite like that. That is, and that's all on his tires right here. He's making it look pretty easy right now, getting through 3 and 4, but with the marbles on his tires, I'm sure it's not actually all that comfortable.
No, that can't be fun at all. But hey, that's hard work out of the way. That's the pit cycle. It's the trickiest part, really, to make sure you don't make a single mistake. He's clear through. He's down in P23, but we know he should be good to the end, as just ahead his brother, who stayed out on the racetrack, I'm pretty sure, going 3 wide. As you really see that tyre wear start to fall off, we'll just go back on board here and see how quickly Justin's able to pull away on those fresh tyres. And it's not even a competition, it's actually a multi-class race. As David's got out of the way for a couple more trips on the low side.
It really does. That is really the speed difference, is it looks like a multi-class race. As I think Michael Walls is pulling it down pit road.
And Jones follows. So it'll be a battle of the crews here. Again, we saw one truck give up the lead already from a mistake on pit road. We'll see if Michael Walls can pull this one off. And it looks like most of the field behind will actually be doing the same. Nice and smooth there. So I do want to focus on at this point is Michael Kruger, though. And all of a sudden, jumped up to P4. All other trips ahead are still out, 52 going on 53 laps. But we'll have to follow along and see where all of these other trucks emerge, because we'd expect him to have a huge overcut. Again, he passed all those on position, but they're maybe not as far behind as he would have hoped. We're talking the gap to Justin just being about 15 seconds, half a lap. You know what? Maybe.
I'll eat crow. I mean, I didn't quite see the vision. I will eat crow if it works out, but this is the part where he's got to make as much time as possible, believe it or not, just kind of minimize that damage, because he's going to be slower than all these guys that have new tires now, so he's kind of at the part of his strategy where he's going to be suffering the most.
I think of the trucks on that one-stop strategy, Kerfan might be the one who's furthest ahead right now. Has pulled off a little bit of an undercut, but still within that window. He's been out on this track for 8 laps now, but he's up into P4 and already right on the tail of this lead group. So I think Walls and Durand actually maybe are not going to be the ones to challenge. I think Kerfan's really nailed that pit cycle and made the most of these fresh tyres while he's got them.
Yeah, but 8 laps is a lot of a difference. So you will see that at the end. He will be hanging on for dear life compared to Michael Walls and Mr. Rand there. So we just got to see how that all plays out. But Michael Kruger is back in the lead on his differing strategy with thinking as a two-stop.
Yeah, I mean, already turned 17 laps on this tandem, this set of tyres. We're talking 41 laps to go at the line. I don't know if 58 is possible. Maybe we're getting close to that, but even if it is, it's such an aggressive undercut that, again, Kerfan's 5.7 back right now and closing. Just got to gain sort of 10th or 2 a lap, and last lap gained much more than that, gained 8 tenths on the fresher tyres. So I just think splitting it in 2 is usually the fastest way around, all else being equal. There's a little bit of a moment there from just a mile behind, who is hit very early, actually 28 laps. I think is definitely coming to the 2-stop there.
Sure, and he was involved in that crash earlier, so I think he's got most of his damage repaired. So he's probably just, I don't know, thinking I'm playing at house money, just trying to get the most I can out of this day, because it kind of looked bad once he was involved in that wreck.
Let's follow on board with Durand as he cuts through this pack of traffic, because, again, some of the freshest tyres in the field. Got Walls a second or 2 behind her to try and punch the way through, but this is around Alonso Chicano, who pitted just a lap before Durand did. There's that one clear, and now Justin Raw ahead, 2 laps fresher, but then Tristan Maher, who's on that 2-stop, we think. A 20-lap delta in tyres between those 2. So I think we'll see the closest speed very quickly.
I'm so happy we chose this hot track, because we would not even see anyone really deviate that much from strategy if it was at night with the less tire wear that would have produced. So this is produced quite a compelling finish that we're kind of set up for.
Durand working that middle groove, just trying to carry the momentum onto the back stretch, and now it looks like Justin Raw's not too interested in getting in the way. A little bit of connection issues as well, but maybe from a little bit of a roadblock as we see Maher have that 20-lap deficit in tyres, and to get to the inside, and I'm sure not going to be a threat posed into turn number 3. Sorry, turn number 1, I should say. We'll get to work on the lap trip of the 91 ahead, I should say. But let's focus forward now, because Nathan Fuller, who's got the 16, hounding a little bit to try and get a lap back. 30 looks to take advantage, 3 wide nearly, as the 16 cuts onto the apron. That would be Canfield, who is just 1 down and looking to stay in Lucky Dog spot as well, let's not forget. Maybe not a high chance of caution, but racers can always get chippy near the end. Kerfan on the fresher tyres, as we mentioned, but still not easy to get those moves done. Now it's all eyes forward here, 2.6 seconds the gap to Kruger. Either the 41 crew has to put another tank of fuel in that truck, or he's got to make this last another 35 laps on those tyres, and with that delta I don't think it's going to last very long.
Yeah, these trucks on the way fresher tires, the ones that we think are one-stopping, oh boy, are they faster than Michael Kruger. They're already only 10 seconds back. This is crazy.
mid 32s for those trucks versus mid. There's actually Fuller, who was said was one of the trucks in that 2-stop, has to come down pit road here. 28 laps on that stint in a pit with 34 to go. So that should put everyone up a little bit. And Durand now clean air towards Kerfen. That gap, 6 seconds between those two. But the lap time delta, 4/10 last time by. The difference in tyre wear, only 2 laps between the 30 and the 5. Actually, I think it's going to be Walls, who's just gotten by. He's got 6 laps pressure tyres. Might be the one to challenge Kerfen, and then Kruder at the front of the field. It's all hand in hand. This is the thing with this sort of different strategy where you hit a different phase of the cycle. Everyone sort of spreads out because the underfoot's just so powerful right off the bat. Then everyone concertinas back together, and that's where the battles can get really tense near the end of the race.
I think Micah's in a very good position right now. I feel like he's just kind of going to control his own destiny here moving forward in this race as long as he keeps the tires underneath him. And Rivers Jones, though, he's still kind of lurking back there and pit with Michael Walls, and he's had speed all race. This is, honestly, I think this is, I know he won a race last season, but from what I've seen from Rivers Jones, this is one of the most complete races I've ever seen him put together. It's very impressive. He hasn't made one mistake, and he's run top 3 all race, top 2, top 3 all race. And if this goes the way I think it's going to go, he's going to get a top 3 finish. And it's just very impressive to see him put this whole race together.
As we cut from that, and again, he just not did these lappers. That is the number 4. We mentioned Fuller had come down for a second pit stop. Now try to get those laps back. There's not going to be any peace and quiet for these trucks at the front. But the question is, can these two, who's going to close in first? We've got Alex Kerfen now getting within a second and a half of Kruger in the lead of this race. Got one lap truck in the way. That'll be Josh Coppenol in P30. But the gap's not closing that quick. I think these tyres might have started to level out.
Sorry,
and there we go, Kruger's down, and Kerfen does inherit the lead. It is going to be a 2-stop for the number 41. And we'll have to keep an eye on what he can do in these final 30 laps. But now we're going to put our sights forward towards this charge that Alex Kerfen is having to withstand from Mika Walls and from Rivers Jones. Again, the delta in tyres between those two, 6 laps might not sound like a lot, but with how hot these conditions are, every lap matters more than the last. And the gap now down to 3.3. It was 4/10 gained last time by. And I think the main concern for Mika is how long it might take to get the move done once you get to the rear bump at the 30, because you've got a truck following right in your wheel tracks who's on the same strategy as you, and if you've got to fight and burn your tyre, suddenly they have the advantage behind.
Yeah, he can't just kind of take his time once he gets to Alex Kerfen. He really needs to take care of his tires on his way up to Alex Kerfen so that hopefully he's got enough of an advantage where he could just kind of fly by and then manage the race from there with that clean air he's got over Rivers Jones. Because if he's sitting there and Alex Kerfen takes a while for him to pass Alex Kerfen, Rivers Jones could just go right on by, and then he's going to end up being the leader of the race. Now you got to make another pass. So it's all this is a lot easier said than done, but what Micah's got going on versus Alex Kerfen and Rivers Jones is that advantage I was talking about through the entire last part of the run. It's kind of why you want to not cut it directly in half, but go a little bit further than halfway, is so that you have an advantage over those people who do just straight up cut it in half. Like I think Alex Kerfen did. I'm pretty sure he just straight up cut the run in half. So Micah's got a little bit of advantage over him this entire run, and as long as he takes care of his tires, he will have that for the whole run. So this will be interesting to see how this shakes out.
now just hopped on with Michael Kruger as he went around walls. He'll just follow as he gets up to the back of Kerfen. We're still a lap down for 41 right now. Would be in lucky opposition, but I'm sure does not want to start at the tail end.
No, doesn't want that.
I'm sure praying for a caution the moment he clears that Chevrolet Silverado in front. But you can see the closing speed's not that quick. It's a couple of laps to bridge that sort of 2.5-3 second gap. It's gonna have to be more than a second a lap on average from this point to the end for him to be able to get back to this lead group. And the lap times here around the 32-33 seconds. He's a full lap behind right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a tall order to do that for the entire time. Yeah, that's going to be a very tall order. If he does it, once again, I'll eat crow, but man, that's a tough ask.
Again, every time you've got to make a move here and the track is sort of full of traffic, it gets harder and harder and your tyres get a little bit worse and worse. Last time by though, 31.7. That's nearly 2 seconds faster. The question is, how many laps can he stay in those 31s? Because once it starts to fall into that 32 range, the task is going to start to look less and less likely.
He's just got to be lap times as long as possible. And the way the tires are, I don't know how long he's going to be able to put those really fast lap times.
This is your battle for P5 right now. You've got Chicano and Raw. Again, difference in tyres, very little. This is going to be on raw pace alone.
David's been on all race. I don't know if I have that. Ride through the field. I'm running the top 5. That's how you sell it. That's how you win a championship. Okay. Made a mistake, I'll get back qualifying effort. How did he mitigate damage? Probably didn't get stage points on the but he didn't get stage points. He's going to get a good point out of this as long as he goes and doesn't make a mistake. And that's what you got to do when you race for a championship.
Yeah, maybe a little bit less so in sort of modern NASCAR with that sort of win-win system, but the way you maximize points isn't from your best days, it's your worst days, and how you can recover them. And this is a great recovery from Alonso. Again, started 30th, now running 5th, and keeping the number 76 at bay here, matching lap times in the 33.4s, just holding steady at 3/10. Might not finish exactly in the top 5, but he'll be close enough.
I think this season, I don't think we're doing winning in. I should know. Bad. Shame on me for not knowing, but I'm pretty sure we're not doing winning in. It's I think we're doing just a regular chase. So it's.
I mean, even if you are, you can still point into the playoffs, and especially with sort of the condensed seasons we run in leagues. There's normally a good few spots up for grabs, and so making the most of every day you have is going to matter a lot, because even if you don't see that top step, you're still going to be in the show when it matters.
And trust me, the season that Alonso Chicano had last season, very uncharacteristic for him. We're used to seeing him win races and battle for the championship. He didn't even make the playoffs. He knows, man, just get the top 5, top 10, just get the top 5 or top 10. And I know he's saying that to himself right now, and I know he wants to be winning. I know how driven he is, how much he wants to be in victory lane, but this is just a stepping stone for him to get back to victory lane. Like we all know he can be. It's just a raw, it's making a move on him.
Yeah, getting side by side here. We've got about 18 laps to go in this event, and fended off nice and smoothly for the time being. Gap sort of stretches back up into the 3/10 range. We're going to hop back now to look at what Michael Kruger's able to do. We're seeing how long he could stay in that 31 range. Not long enough, it seems like. Last lap, a 32.6. going to cut through the field a lot, but it's still 20 seconds back with only about 16 laps to race. I don't think this is Gamble's going to work out for the 41. I think he's going to probably get back into the top 10, maybe fight for those top 5 spots, but it's going to leave Walls to really fight for this. The gap stayed behind Jones, holding pretty firm at 7/8 tenths, but most importantly at the front of the field, gap is coming down. It's 1.3 seconds. How much pace does Alex Kerfman have left in those tyres to defend this spot? You see both trucks 33.4 last time by, but this time another gear foul for Future Walls, 2 tenths cut off just in that mile and a half.
Yeah, eventually the tires will probably even out, and so you don't want to take too long to get there, but it seems like Micah and Rivers Jones are just kind of taking their time right now getting there, but at this rate, they will have a chance at Alex Kerfman to kind of take a swing at him.
And it's going to be with that gap holding and actually extending a little bit. Walls is going to have at least a couple of laps to try and engineer that move nice and smoothly. We've just got the lap truck here, the number 46 of Thornton. Currently 1 lap down, but currently on, I think, fairly old tyres, so not going to be really pulling away. And, a little bit of contact there with the lapper, the 7 not wanting to wait around. The 46 gets right up to the wall, getting the memo, and now this is what you want to see out of the windshield. You've got that Bucky's truck, that is Justin Andrews. But a second and a half, you can see them. You've got to make sure you're as efficient as possible around these. Nice and on the high side there is Andrews. It feels like you're running out of time. It feels like the tyres might be settling into that sort of equal rhythm just when Walls needed that extra few laps out of them.
Yeah, Michael Walls is. He lost a tenth or so with that lap truck a couple laps ago now, and he's got to pass another one. Now he's got the clean air. Now he's got exactly what he wants, but that's what I talked about. You got to take care of your tires when you're on the strategy. You have to take care of your tires so that you have that advantage throughout the whole run. It makes your life a lot easier, but tires equal out. Well, then Kerfman's going to go ahead and run away with this one.
Yeah, next time back, 10 laps to go. Gap's not fallen within that 1 second range yet, where you'd really say he's able to engage in that fight. But maybe a little bit of drama there. There is a lap truck ahead of Kerfman there, looking to stay on the lead lap. Well, there was maybe a little bit of gain through 3 and 4, but the exit was just so much stronger for Kerfman, with a gain of only about 800ths. That's not be fast enough. 10 laps to go, and Walls might just be flagging a little bit too early.
Yeah, and I don't think the lap track ahead of Kerfman will be a big deal. I don't think that's a big deal. But I do see a pack of trucks ahead of that, and if they do end up catching that, I'm not sure if they will or not. That'll be a bigger deal if he can get through that.
Michael Kruger, meanwhile, has dropped back into the 33s here and is only as high as P15 on this strategy.
Yeah, I know he's going to be kicking himself because such a fast truck. It truly takes everything. It takes strategy, it takes racecraft, it takes speed to win these races.
It takes a little bit of luck sometimes.
A little bit of luck, too, because you know, if a caution falls at some point in that run, and let's just say he has the lead, well, then it didn't matter that he did the strategy he did, right? Because then he's right back in the lead. But it's just the way it goes sometimes, and you live and you learn. And he's one that's really fast. He'll be fighting for wins the whole season.
Yeah, and it's how you learn from these races. And you think sort of 4 or 5 weeks down the line, you're trying to work out which strategy to go for. pull this out of the notes and go, I'm going to do it differently this time. That's what we ought to take forward, and I'm sure we'll do a great job of that. But we are going to hop back into our battle for the lead because the gap has reduced down to below a second. But it's still about 8/10 with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard me make a noise off of 4. I think Alex Kerfoot caught the wall just a little bit. I might be starting to struggle with his truck a little bit. Michael Walls might have one shot. He's got to get around this lap truck first.
Yeah, this is the number 16 of Jonathan Canfield, who's now fallen 1 lap down. Doesn't really have too much to fight for here. He's pretty solidly in the lucky dog position, but obviously doesn't want to give up time. Michael Walls will go to the low side, and gap's now dipping into the 7/10 range. We're going to start getting some slipstream on the back stretch. We're not sure exactly how much of a factor that will play. But we'll come to 5 laps to 7.5 miles left in the desert, and he's going to have to make a catch. If he catches, he's going to have 1 attempt at this overtake.
Yeah, and you might see that aggression if he does catch, because he's going to have to throw a Hail Mary, and this man is a Hail Mary machine. He likes to throw haymakers, so we might be in for a little bit of a classic finish if he can get there. One thing that might make this a little bit tough is that these two are kind of running similar lines, just kind of running that middle groove, that middle lane, and obviously you can't pass them if you're running the same line as them, so you got to kind of figure out a way around them.
Gap's down to 6/10 here. Last lap's 1/10 gained. There's only 4 laps to go. He might just about get to the rear bumper. Sort of coming to the white flag, coming to the checkered flag. He's got to try and find something, anything left in those tires. Get it rotated on the right rear. At this point, risk it having a slide and falling back behind Jones, because going up to first place is going to be such a huge win there for Mika Walls. A great drive in this stint. Gap's down to half a second with 3 laps to go, and there is a little bit of lap traffic further up. We'll see if they play a factor.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. There's a couple trucks up ahead. That dirty air might be what Michael Walls needs to have a chance, because he's going to need a big lap to really have a realistic shot at it. This is a lot like the championship race in real life.
It reminds me of Darlington last season as well.
Yeah.
Still just holding steady in that 4/10 range. It's going to come down to what these lap trucks do. We're talking 2.5 miles left in this one. Coming to the white flag next time by. And Alex Kerf just has to hold on for a little bit longer. There's a little bit of blinking ahead as well. What's he going to be able to do around these lappers?
Coming to the white flag. Jurgensmeyer gets out of the way. Big help to Alex Kerfan there. He's gonna have a run.
2/10. The cap's 2/10.
He's gonna make a send.
A little bit of contact sends him up into the marbles, but he holds on to it. The 7 has the slide. It's going to be a drag race to the line here, but it'll be Alex Kerfan holding on for the win by
just in the nick of time.
Just a couple of tenths of a second, if that. What a fantastic finish. Walls had that one opportunity, and you saw he took everything he could. He took a little bit of the paint with him, but Alex Kerfan holds on to the truck, holds on to the lead, and takes the checkered flag here in Nevada.
Yeah, he is. I know Alex Kerfan is really happy that race was 134 laps, not 135. That might have been completely different. It was 1 lap extra, but boy, he did a really good job of conserving tires that entire last run, even with his tire deficit, in order to stay ahead of Michael Walls. Did a great job getting through traffic. That's probably where the difference was, because we talked about how Michael Walls had that 1 lap where he lost because of traffic. He's kind of got in the way, and all those little things was just enough for Alex Kurtman to get back into victory lane. See his teammates really happy about that.
Another shot to the paint there on that truck. Well earned burnouts there. A great run through that second stage for everyone, keeping it green all the way for the final nearly 100 laps. But it is, in the end, by just 700ths of a second, Alex Kurtman over Mika Walls takes the win in Las Vegas.
Kurtman doing those burnouts. Waiting in the grass.
So let's have a look at our race results here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Alex Kurtman comes home with the victory. Michael Walls narrowly come home P2. Rivers Jones P3. Justin Duran P4. Rounding out your top fives, Alonso Chicano was able to hold on for that top five. Jeffrey Armistead finishing sixth. Cameron Caldwell, he came from the early to mid 20s there too, finishing P7. Justin Rott finishing eighth. Steven Maggio P9. And rounding out your top 10 is William Kemp.
David Duran Jr. started outside the top 30, comes all the way up to P11. Jacob Lottier finishes P12, and Michael Kruder going for that strategy gamble, 2 stops in that final stage. It doesn't pay off. He's going to have to settle for P13 at the end of that one. Ahead of Cody McCorkle, Dakota Knoll, Nathan Fuller, Roy Crump, Tristan Maher, and Gabe Cazzola. Final truck on the lead lap. Jonathan Canfield ran at your top 20, 1 laps down.
21st was Justin Andrews, a lap down. Stephen Thornton, 22nd. Shane O'Neill in 23rd. Traver Burns, 24th. Sean Cassane, 25th. Andrew Davis in 26th. 27th was Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. We saw his issues. 28th was Dawson Allen. 29th was Josh Coppernoll. Running up the top 30 is Tyler Watermore.
And we're going to start to get into our retirements from this one. It'll be Levi Poland, 21 laps down, then Brett Bennett, Ryan Bodie, Duncan Four, Fidel Fabian, and Christopher Smeltzer. The last of your 36 cars in this field tonight.
Now it's time for interviews, and we'll let you interview P3 and P1 tonight. We'll let you interview the winner. I'll get to deal with second place. Yeah, I'll throw you in the deep end. First, we'll get Rivers Jones in here for you.
Hey Rivers, this is Olivia in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, what a race that was for you. Started off very strong, qualifying it on the pole there, and then a very strong race the entire event long, bringing that Toyota home in P3. Talk us through how that one went for you, and sort of what are the nerves like coming to that green flag on the pole of that field?
I was really nervous because that's the first ever pole I've gotten in my iRacing league racing career so far, so that was really cool. And I knew through my practice earlier that the tire wear was going to be very high, so I knew, okay, I want to maintain track position, but I want to like save my tires still. So that was just my strategy throughout the entire race, honestly, and I was just kind of willing to let the position fall into my hands, really. So I finished third in the stage, and I was happy with that. Happy with my performance that stage, and then the second stage, same mindset. I just wanted to maintain track position, conserve my tires, and it was interesting because me and Micah, we were on the same strategy, so we decided to push our fuel tank all the way to the end, and that was probably around like lap 90 or so. And Kurtman, I'm not sure exactly what lap he pitted, but I know it was several laps before Micah and I pitted, and the entire time we were just like, all right, we gotta get to Kurtman. That's the only shot we have at competing for the win. And Mike was able to get up there, and he almost won the whole thing, and that was pretty funny to watch from like 2 seconds back. Yeah, I'm really happy with my race tonight.
it's a great way to sort of open up the campaign this season. Of course,
Absolutely.
next week heading to an even bigger track than this one, the
Yeah.
legendary Auto Club Speedway. How are you fancy your chances there? You should go back to back on the poles there.
Man, I really fancy my chances greatly there because that's where I got my current only win in this series last season. So I feel like I have a great shot to win next week too.
That's great to hear, and it's a great way to start off your campaign. Of course, anyone want to shout out and thank for the support today? Floor's all yours.
Man, everybody in my VC, Micah, Justin, Gabe, Steven, Brian Bogey, all of them. My parents. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, and maybe we'll talk to you again in a week's time.
Thank you. I'd love to.
Well, shall we get Meteor Wars on the line and see what it's like sending that thing into turn 3 on the final lap?
Yeah, I'll see if I could pick his brain a little bit. You're gonna see. We've known it. So just to preface this for you, Olivia, we've known each other for a long time. So this interview's probably gonna be a little silly.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, Micah. Well,
I almost did it, Bill. I can't believe it.
first of all, you suck. Second of all,
I know.
what more did you need to get Alex Kerfa in there? Because there was a lot going on. We had to go through lap traffic, different tire strategies. What more do you think you needed?
I don't know. I didn't save my tires enough on that last run. It's just too much. It was too much lap traffic. I don't know. If I would have saved a little more, it would have been a little better. But
Okay.
we would have been in victory lane. But oh well.
But that's okay because you get off to a pretty good start here. This is the real start of the season.
Yeah.
And,
Not that
plate-
fake
plate
racing
track.
at Daytona.
Plate track, yeah, that's a plate track. So, carry a little bit more momentum into Auto Club next week where it's another high tire degradation race. And you've won some races there before and other Sibs. How confident are you going into Auto Club?
I feel like it's gonna be a really good race. I mean, if we have another green flag run like we did here, I think I'll be pretty well set off. But if not, I don't know. I'm not that good on a short run,
Okay, so
especially at a track like that.
before I give you shout outs, I'm going to compliment you. And then I'm going to tell you I'm going to yell at you after this broadcast.
Oh no.
First of all, your drive up to the lead was very impressive. To go from, what was that, basically 8th to first. You saved your tires very well that run.
Yep.
And I don't know why you forgot to do that on the last run. You're doing our team a disservice, so I'm going to have a talk with you after this broadcast, okay?
I don't know. I just think I was worried about Rivers behind me. I don't know.
Okay, I don't want to hear your excuses, brother. Okay, so any shout outs you want to give?
I gotta shout out Bill,
Thank you.
and then I gotta shout out Rivers and Olive Goat.
All right. That was P2 Michael Walls. Better luck next week, and congrats on the P2.
Thanks.
Well, I'm going to send you down to victory lane, where you got a hold of Alex Kerfan.
I sure do. Alex, this is Olivia in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, congratulations. That's all I can say on that one. A great call on the strategy there, starting P7, but it was really that decision up to the undercut in that final stop that put you in the position to capitalize on this one. What goes through your mind in that sort of situation where you know the run's going green? When do you pull the trigger, and how did you hold on to that advantage for the end?
Well, that's where experience in this league comes into play, because man, oh man, I have been in this position way too many times, and I've made the wrong call way too many times, and I'm finally like, okay, I'm going to be the first one to pit in this kind of situation. I need to get even if my tires are 1 or 2 laps older, I just need to save that little bit to get them on the same playing field as people who I'm trying to undercut. And yeah, it worked out at a track, especially like Las Vegas, where the track position's so important. The dirty air was so brutal all race, and man, the outside line was very dominant. It was pretty much impossible to pass someone on the inside. But yeah, just been in that position way too many times to count, and I knew exactly what I needed to do this time.
Well, let's talk about outside line, because you held that all through that sort of final battle, and god damn it, Meatball Balls tried on the low side, gave you a little bit of a nudge. Were you a little bit worried coming sort of into that final lap and seeing that gap close coming out of turn 2? And what goes through your mind when you
Yes.
feel that first bit of contact?
Yeah, so I was definitely eyeing that gap coming down the backstretch for the last time, and I knew only two things could happen. He's gonna stay exactly where he's at because the gap is too big, or he's gonna send it like good old Austin Dillon there at Richmond. But he was able to keep it clean enough, and he only gave me a slight nudge, and I was able to get it straight again and give him a good drag race to the finish line. But yeah, I knew it was coming, but I yeah, I was bracing myself for it, is what I'm trying to say.
It was a fantastic battle there to finish off the race. Of course, you take home the checkered flag in hand, and immediately thoughts go on to next week, going to Auto Club. It's a venue we can only go to virtually now, but beloved by many. What do you think of your chance of going back to back there?
Yeah, Auto Club's classically been a good track for me too. I don't think I have the finishes to back it up, but man, I've been close, and it'd be a nice trophy to get. I think that one's still missing from the cabinet.
Well, we'll see if you can get an expansion set up there. And yeah, I mean, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on the win. If there's anyone you want to thank and shout out in this moment, the floor is yours. Congratulations.
Yeah, I like to always thank my friends and family, especially my parents and my girlfriend, who love to watch it every week and support it. It's really cool of them. And I'd like to thank my sponsors, Kerfans Markets, C2 Graphics, Grid Network, Cam Caldwell for making a great scheme. I love running his schemes, and I appreciate all my teammates, Alonzo, Justin, Tristan, Cam, Josh. There's too many of them. There's just too many of them to name. They know they're all appreciated if I didn't say your name. And great broadcast, and I love racing in this league.
Thank you so much, and again, maybe we'll speak to you again next week.
Yeah, hope for.
Well, what an introduction to this lead for me, huh? Great battle to the checker down. Alex Kerfen just holding on for the win after a fantastic green flag run to the end.
Yeah, that was a very clean race for the most part there, and it went green. Thankfully, that was your introduction to this league, because that is some of the best that it could be. You had a close finish. You had varying strategies. Once again, thank you for making this a day race. Thank you. That is awesome. That was in the driver's hands tonight. It wasn't just a draft fest. That was really drivers out there wheeling it. It was seemed like a pretty. You could make it loose, set up loose if you wanted to, but you could use the high side. You could use the low side. You could use the middle. I'm surprised someone didn't try to catch fence. It was quite a blast, and last season's regular season champion picks off just about where he left off last season with another win. I mean, it's so good to see him have his mojo back, and it's good to see him carrying it into this season.
Yeah, and again, it's about then how you build on that and really set forth the rest of the campaign. And again, a strong track, I think maybe for a lot of the drivers here. I don't think you'll find many people who don't enjoy racing at Auto Club. It's going to be very much a packed race, I think, in these trucks, but 5 lanes to work with, I'm sure we'll see people use all 5.
Yeah, I personally love that track. I don't even know if I'll be here to commentate it, let alone have a chance to race it, because that's one of my favorites. I got my first career win there, and I have a lot of firsts there. I love that place. You can go anywhere. You can make your own line. It's going to be a blast there for sure here on JCTV next week.
Well, thank you all for joining us here tonight. It's been an absolute blast getting to bring you the BSR Truck Series, sponsored by AMSOIL, of course. And this time next week, same time, same place. It'll be Fontana. See you there.